Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a deep dive into a topic that I'm sure is still kind of on everyone's mind, although Choose Your Legends has kind of come and gone for the most part. Now, I think the banner, as of this recording, the banner doesn't have too much longer left while it's still alive. We do have the new Farfetched Redux redo banner that will inevitably come at some time during the fall. Of course, I believe I also have the Banner Mania for fall out already, and if I do, I will link it in the description, or I will update the description when it's there, because I don't know when you're watching this, and I don't know when they're getting published. Spoilers, they're getting recorded around the same time. So if I look the same, that's probably what it is. So anyway, it's interesting because I did kind of cover this in a previous video, like months and months and months ago, after the voting had finalized. And since then, we've actually had a lot of characters from the Fire Emblem series pop up in the game. Mostly those who are beast-oriented. You can see Selkie is there. Louise, I mean, we technically kind of got Louise. She's bridal now, but you know, still counts. Ranulf, Har, we got Har too. So there's kind of just a handful of units that we've seen, and I think it's worth going back and kind of reevaluating what we've got. Not Jill, we haven't gotten Jill yet. Pan we got, Valoria we got. So there's a couple that have existed since then, since my last video, which means the numbers kind of change. Because originally it was kind of just like Laith, Ranulf, I think Mordecai may have been in there as well. But so let's go take a look at who we have kind of left. And I've done all the grunt work for you, so you can just sit back and enjoy. So here you go. Over at the far right, I've got the units from the first two kind of Choose Your Legends runoff banners that we've got. I don't really know what to call them. But those are listed there. Dorcas came at 21st. We had Lute in at 28, Mia at 31, and then Joshua at 34. And so, for what that's worth, everybody was kind of in the top 35, top 40 there. We also had, for the past one, that was the Farfetched banner, in case you're wondering. The Redux, or the Redo banner, we had Loki, Owain, Cliff, and Aversa. And if you'll notice, the two differences here, or the two similarities rather, Aversa and Joshua were the fourth picked out of the lineup. And they were also the free unit that we got in, I think it's a Grand Hero battle, I think is what they came as. So that's something to consider too. There are a couple of parameters that we're ignoring, and the main one being in our predictions, they always come in pairs of two. So male and female, two of each. That's what you can see there. The ordering might be different, but I think the main thing is that the fourth runner-up, or the fourth most, will be the free unit. So what I've done over here on the left-hand side of your screen is I've taken the top 100 and I've removed everybody that was already in the game, and that's it. I went through and updated since we've got newer characters and things like that in, and hopefully this makes a little more sense now. I'm hoping that it will. And I've got notes too, just in case I forget anybody's name, because there are a lot. So after running through everybody who got back into the game after the results were in, like I said, a lot of Beast units were qualified, and then they're gone now. We had Anna from Awakening at number 5. Bruno, he claimed the 14th spot. Leaf was 16th. Louise was 23rd. Thrasier was 35th. Jill claimed the 52 slot. And then it's just a lot of ladies. like a lot of ladies. If you go back through, I won't do it here because that would make for an extremely long video. But everything was very much more broken up between male and female in the previous years. This, not so much, which probably made it a lot easier to pick the top 2 male and female candidates from the previous years who didn't get in and weren't already in the game to be in this new banner. But this one's going to be a little bit more tricky. So Renea was at 56th, Rinka was 65th, Anna from Fates was 66th, Ileana was 67th, we had Hell at 68, Grima ranked in at 69. Go ahead, get the giggles out now. Great. Charlotte came in at 74th, Lilith at 77, and then Selena at 79, Conrad 84, and then the rest of the bunch, which will likely not be impacted all that much. Nils at 85, Shinon at 86, Wrath 90, Cormag at 92, Milla at 99, and Python rounding out the 100th spot. So, how do we break this down? Very complicated, right? Lots of stuff. First and foremost, I am going to go ahead and get rid of the gods that exist in this because they will not likely be in this banner. This is kind of a banner of it's like a secondary fan service banner after Choose Your Legends. Gods are likely going to be mythic heroes at some point, so let's just kind of go ahead and get rid of them. And as you can see, we took out Milla, Grima, and Hell. Hell also kind of gets removed for a secondary reason, which are the next units that I'm going to get rid of, that being Book 3 units. Later in the month, and probably again in November, we're going to get hit with a couple Book 3 character banners, Hell being the main antagonist of this book, similar to how Surtur was. We ended up seeing Surtur and Yolger on the banner in November of last year. So more than likely that's going to happen again, and because of that, I think it's pretty safe to say we can take out Leaf and Thraseer. So that means this is what we have left. These are the overall units of the top 100 after we've taken out characters that are already in the game, because this isn't like an alt banner. This is just base character banners. And then we've taken out the gods and the Book 3 units. They're likely getting their own banners or mythic status at some point. So as you can see, we didn't take out that many, which is a little unfortunate because that makes our job a little bit harder. So if we were just going by this, if we were just looking at the numbers, picking the top 2 male and females, this would more than likely be what we were looking at for the newest Farfetched Redux banner. That being Anna from Awakening, Bruno, Louise, and Conrad. So, good diversity. Honestly, it's pretty good diversity. And I think this makes a lot of sense. The only 2 things I'm primarily concerned of are the Anna and the Louise of it all. Because technically, they are already in the game, but they don't have like a base unit, kind of. Anna does, sort of, so this would kind of be an alt. But she's treated differently because she's from a different game, right? So I guess technically that would work. And honestly, this is the Anna I would want in the game anyway, so if this does happen, I am very happy about it. Bruno makes a lot of sense. I don't really know what's going on with him, in all sincerity. He's just been kind of written out of the entirety of the story at this point. He did pop up for Easter, but we haven't heard from him since. But base Bruno, this would be kind of a good way to introduce him without having to explain the whole backstory, which at this point, I kind of feel like might be a good thing. On the other hand, it might be one of those instances where they are intentionally not doing that because he's going to come back and play some sort of important role as we round out Book 3 or further down the road, and that's when they'll introduce him. It could be one of those situations. I don't really know. Either way, he seems like a pretty decent candidate for something like this. Conrad, like I said, there is a big gap of male characters that hit the top 100 overall between, between Bruno and Conrad. Nobody else is really viable, and everybody else is already in the game. I don't know, man. I don't know. This was a bit of a head scratcher for me. So there's that. Conrad and Bruno, maybe your two male candidates, and then Anna and Louise, possibly. Again, Louise does have a bridal form in the game. Anna technically has Commander Anna, even though they're two different Annas because they're actually sisters from two different worlds, which they know about it. So there's that. But let's play devil's advocate. Let's assume that we don't want to look at alts, right? Maybe IS is like, look, this is new characters only. If any form of them is already in the game, we're not going to include them. Let's just play devil's advocate and look at that. So once you take away like this guy here, this was our mainstay, right? Once you take away the potential alts, this is kind of what your top 100 would look like after that. So as you can see, again, big disparity between male and female characters in the top 100 overall, and it looks very, very different. So this is kind of the world where Jill wins, and I'm pretty okay with that, which also means that Renea wins. So let's look at our top 4 here. Again, a lot of female characters getting beaten out, and honestly, I'm mostly sad at Ileana and Wrath not making the cut. That's a big bummer for me, but we got to go over the numbers lead us, and that is this. The only thing that I'm maybe not considering for this, and again, it may be an anomaly because we haven't had this issue prior, with it being like so many characters in the game now and some having alts and some not. If you look over at the first 2 banners that we had for this, everyone is in that like top 40-ish area. And over here, we don't have anybody from the top 40. It's 50 and beyond. So there's kind of some big gaps that we're looking at that's a little flustering, I think, for the most part. So looking at this, Jill and Renea would be in the top, as would Nils and Conrad. So far, Conrad has been our only constant. So if you're not a fan of Conrad, I am sorry, but more than likely he is going to get in there just because the only other potential top male candidate would have been through Leaf. But again, the likeliness of that happening, given how Book 3 is going, and we're probably getting him in a banner at the beginning or end towards, you know, I don't see it happening. So that's what it is. So if we go back and look at, you know, all-inclusive, let's just give it a general air of who I think is likely going to be in here. This is your top 7. All right, so Anna from Awakening, Bruno, Louise, Jill, Renea, Conrad, and Nils. Whether or not they do the alt thing, maybe they don't classify that. Sorry, Charlotte, you didn't make the cut, more than likely. It's such a weird thing that we're having to deal with right now because, like I said, there's such a big gap that's happening from right there. It may be one of those situations where maybe they don't do male and female characters, but given that that is the whole theme of like the voting process for Choose Your Legends, I don't see them doing that with this, given that this is kind of a runoff banner theme for that particular event. So more than likely, they're not going to break tradition on that, which mean, if that were the case, the numbers would look a lot better, right? You just have the column on the left here, that being Anna, Bruno, Louise, and Jill. Everyone is still kind of in that top area. This would be considered like the top 50-ish, whereas before, you know, the first year it was the top 35, the year after that it was like around the top 40, and now we'd be around the top 50, which kind of makes sense, the progression of it all. But again, I don't know where their head's at in terms of like base units, what they consider to be already in the game. It's vexing for the most part. But if I had to put money on it, I would say more than likely this is going to be some combination of these units here. They are going to be on your next Farfetched Redux banner that we'll be seeing probably pretty soon. And if you want to take a look at the stuff that we've got going on over the next several months, and you check out the video that is probably in the description if you haven't seen it already, because I think that one's going first. I do a series called Banner Mania once every season to give you an idea of the banners that are book and special themed coming up over the next several months. to kind of help you plan out your orbs and think about the process that your wallet is likely going to go through during that time period. So there you go. That's my guess. That's my best estimate. I've done the stats. I've run the calcs. This is what we got. In the comments, let me know what you guys think. Do you think any of these 7 are likely going to be seen for the next Farfetched Redux banner? If so, let me know which one you think you are most excited for. Personally, if Jill can get in there, I'm pretty hyped. And if Anna from Awakening can get in there, I am also very excited. I'm holding out for Nils. I got my fingers crossed for Nils, but I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm putting my eggs in either the Anna or Jill basket. And again, it's just kind of a matter of where IS's head is at. And no one really knows where that is. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't. I do a lot of Heroes content over here on the channel, as well as some Dragalia Lost, general Nintendo stuff throughout the month. So feel free to check that out. And we'll also be doing a special kind of giveaway come November, I think, is when the anniversary thing happens. I'm not 100% sure for book 3. I think that's when it should be ending. Maybe. So feel free to subscribe so you don't miss anything about that. But that's it for right now. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will catch you next time.